What's going on, everybody? So this video is not aimless. This is a very specific video, and last year in my newsletter, which I haven't really attended to lately, I dropped I called it the State of the Union address, just to kind of give a summary. Currently, I feel like we're at as in terms of a program, and just to go over some life things that I feel like is important for people that work with me to kind of get a greater insight into my life and why I do what I do and how it influences the program and what I have to offer. So I wrote that last year, and I think I wrote it right around Easter. So this is a month or so later than I did last year, and I'm going to do it in video format this time. So I'm going to go over that, and then just kind of share a preview, an overview of what to expect with this summer's training. And I had been meaning to do this. I actually wanted to do this video around Easter again, just to keep it sort of consistent. But I've been documenting some of my training on my Instagram, and if you're not familiar with it, so essentially I am trying to train for running endurance and strength simultaneously. So working two ends of the spectrum, working on the max endurance, being able to run really far and getting decent at that, as well as trying to still get stronger, maintain the same amount of muscle mass, which they're kind of counterintuitive. It's like a catch-22, but I'm trying to do it, and it's something new, and I had been really pushing it. I was doing about 2 runs a day. I was doing a run in the morning with a weighted vest. I would put the kids in the stroller, put the weighted vest on, and take them for at least like a 2-mile run. And then in the evening, I would lift, and then I would do another run. And that run was just it was usually at least 3 miles, but sometimes it would go further. It just depended on how I felt and how much time I had, and yada, yada, yada. So, it was just a bunch of varying factors that I know. It was never really a set distance or time. It would just kind of would go and see how it felt. So I was doing that pretty religiously for weeks and weeks, and it wore down the system. Definitely. I feel like I've never overtrained before in my life, because I never really pushed it that hard, and I was really pushing it. And I definitely think I started dipping my toes into that overtraining. Actually, I definitely dipped my toes into overtraining, which is the first time I've ever done that. And not only did I feel the effects of it, sort of like lower energy, just wasn't seeing the results that I wanted, but I actually concurrently at the same time, ironically, got blood work done. And I feel like that blood work sort of reflected what kind of state my body was currently in. So I had to take a step back, and one of the things that I decided to do to help overcome this issue was prioritize sleep. I was always making these videos so late, and I wasn't really getting a ton of good quality sleep. I'd say like on average, it's like between like 5 to 6 hours, which I know that I'm sure some high level people operate on less, but with how hard I feel like I was just pushing myself, and that little amount of sleep, it just wasn't working. It wasn't enough. So I started prioritizing sleep. I was trying to get to bed earlier, and I had been doing that for a couple weeks, and I feel a lot better. I kind of adjusted the training a little bit, and definitely noticed a difference. So that's all taken care of now. Gonna try to keep that schedule consistent. But that's essentially a little bit of a backstory as to why we are about a month behind making this video. Just wanted to focus up on that aspect, because I feel like if I'm not at my best, then I can't project myself onto others in what I can, best service them. And I'm not, it wasn't, it's like being slightly more irritable and just, it just all the things that would come with a little bit like that sleep deprivation and your body just feeling in that fatigue state. So I just wanted to get that in check. So it is in check, and tonight was a great night to make this video, because I received a text that fits perfectly in line with what I want to go over in the State of the Union anyways. So I was actually working out in the garage and received this text, and it's like, tonight's the night we are going to make this, and I want to get it out as soon as possible, especially because the tail end of this video will have to do with some of the summer training, and I want to get that out because for the college kids, pretty much their summer now, school is over, and then we have in this month, a lot of the high schools will be wrapping up. So then next thing you know, it's full swing into summer. So to start, my training program, I definitely feel like has seen a lot of changes, and it's sort of reflective, I feel like, of the changing in the current state of the culture that we are living in. Obviously, with myself, the more years that I do this, more people I work with, I grow as a person, I grow as a practitioner, if you want to call it that. And I really definitely every year get a better finger on the pulse of the clientele that I'm working with and what exactly I need to do to best serve them. So I would say, one of the biggest things that I am now working on is developing a culture and mindset of using physical fitness not only to improve your sports performance, but to improve your life. And I've been doing a lot of reading lately, and the reading that I have been doing has all sort of been centered around the culture of our youth, and not only the youth, but it also has concerning it as far as adults as well. But a lot of the material specifically tailors it towards the youth, because there definitely is a change in the culture, and it's been happening for a while, and there is a lot of good evidence that shows a lot of these things. So two books that have made a huge impact on my knowledge base and has really just opened my eyes to so many new ideas and concepts. One is Dr. Phil's latest book. It is We've Got Issues, and then currently am almost done with Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation. And there are two amazing books, and I would recommend anybody and everybody to read them, especially as a parent. I think it's an amazing resource. And then if you're a youth, it's a great book to read too, which it's crazy, like when you think about how many kids probably actually read books nowadays, it's probably very minimal. So it's maybe like one of the actual first books they've ever read for leisure, so but a little bit later, I'm gonna actually share a couple highlights from Dr. Phil's book that sort of supports some of the things I am going to talk about. But all right, so it's actually not the so a lot of these videos, it was always my phone that was about to die, but I actually have my laptop over here next to me because I have the highlights from the book pulled up, and the laptop actually dang that it was about to die, and I did not want that to die because it takes a while for it to like reboot once you plug it in, so I had to catch it before it actually died. So it's funny, it's like it's like the saying, the more things change, the more they stay the same, or something saying like that. But it's like, seems like, haven't made one of these in a while, and look at that, we're already having things starting to fall apart and batteries dying. But while I have it pulled up, I might as well actually go into some of these highlights now, and it'll be a good segue into two things I want to share from some athletes that they, one texted me and one wrote to me. So the first thing from Dr. Phil's book, I'm just going to read off of the highlights from the quotes. So first one, look at the levels of depression, anxiety, and loneliness among this generation. I would argue that some of that comes from the impact of cheating them out of the pride of setting and achieving goals. The reward of overcoming obstacles and being able to say, I did that, I worked hard, I persevered, and I'm proud of accomplishing something of importance. They have been denied the feeling of, I'm starring in my own life. Instead, we are seeing psychological pain and lack of personal gratification. Second one, all of us are either advancing, eliciting, allowing, or maintaining what is going on in our lives. I did not choose those words at random. These are the 4 ways in which you are playing a role regarding the toxicity in your life. When I say toxicity, I'm not talking about our politics, Democrats or Republicans. I'm talking about our culture, our values and beliefs, our family units, the building blocks upon which America has been structured. And third, I want to be clear. All of us are involved, whether we think so or not. Every one of us takes a position on everything happening in this country and in our lives of which we have any conscious awareness. As I said a minute ago, in this culture war, you don't have the luxury of being a non-combatant. You cannot not choose. Why? Because even not choosing is a choice. Amongst many other highlights from that book, those were the ones that I wanted to share because they're the ones that fit best with what I'm going to share next from some real athletes. And I shared that third one last year about, he says, you cannot not choose anymore. Seeing a change, and again, and especially in Jonathan Haidt's book, The Anxious Generation, he provides a plethora of statistics and numbers and charts and graphs, and I was thinking about sharing some of them, but it just gets too wordy, too numbery. You just have to essentially take my word that, actually you should read the book because it's a great book, but essentially take my word that when they say anxiety and depression and mental health have been on a steady and steep decline in this country amongst everybody, but specifically in our youth generation, it is true. And I now have been doing this now for 11 years, working with the youth population. I have seen changes in attitudes and, if you want to use the word, the mental health and especially even the physical health, I've seen it. And it is amazing to see because, like when I had grown up, it was in that generation they call that was like the first smartphone generation. And then ever since then, we've seen a lot of these issues, on the rise, as far as the anxiety, the depression, and the mental health issues. So, not only going through it as a teenager, but then, working with teenagers now for the past 11 years, I can definitely see it. And the one thing that have very much changed, I feel like, in the way I structure my program is off of that value of hard work, pushing yourself very, very hard, going through something that sucks and suffering, because at the end of that, there is that release. As he mentioned here, I'm proud of accomplishing something of importance, giving these kids something that they don't think that they can do, and then they do it, and you repeatedly do that on a consistent basis, and you get stronger, you feel better, your physical health is better, which leads to better mental health. I am not beating around the bush anymore, which I used to. I feel like in my earlier years, in my middle years, I was doing a little bit too much of what you would call like a coddling approach. Now it's just full-fledged. This is what's best for you, and we need to do it. I know it's going to be hard, it's going to suck, but this is what you need to do, and we're going to do it, and you will make it through it, and you will feel better. You will be a better person for doing it. And it takes tough love. It does. And I am so passionate about it that it is like seeping out of me to where, because I have really radically changed my own life through this approach. And damn it, I wish I would have had, not to be self-righteous here, but I wish I would have had someone like me to put me through this type of program, because it would have radically changed, my projection of my life, and the trajectory of, my physical and mental health. It would have been such a catalyst for that. So that is why I'm so passionate about it, because I'm trying to now interject that into this program to change the lives of others. And that leads us to two athletes that have unprompted sent me these, and I'm going to read them because I feel like they are very important for any athletes to hear, and especially for parents to hear. So the first one: I texted my mom to get me out of school early to come in today, which it's awesome. That's awesome. But back to the text here. My mood was horrible, and I knew I needed to clear my head. I called her on the way to training and after. After training, she interrupted me while I was talking to point out the difference in the way I was talking to her. My mood was better, and I was speaking way more positive. My attitude toward my day was completely different. It was such an eye-opener. I always have that feeling when I leave the gym, but today it was so impactful. I wanted to text you to thank you for everything that you're doing. The difference you have made in my life is something I will forever be grateful for. The culture you have built is something so special. I truly appreciate you. The second athlete. The latter half of 2023 was especially rough for me, and I was locked in a hard struggle to find myself. I can say without a singular doubt that returning to work with you was one of the best decisions I could have made during that time. The environment you have curated was a catalyst for my own emergence as a young man with a newly found purpose. I have been able to work very hard and improve on my body and mind, and I cannot thank you enough for your continued support through my journey. Over the years that I've spent working and becoming more healthy, you never ceased to teach me lessons that have become enshrined in my own perspective on life. Through your vigorous workouts and constant encouragement, you allowed me to learn on my own that the most important thing in life is how you respond to it. You taught me to respond to hard times with grit and tenacity in order to overcome them, and to use the good times to push myself to greater heights. That philosophy can be applied to all of life, no matter how insignificant or impossible it may seem in the hard times. To you, Troy, I give my most sincere thanks. I don't share these examples from athletes to, brag about me and my program. I share these examples because it alludes to a greater overarching concept of why I do what I do. As Dr. Phil had mentioned, you can no longer not choose to take a stand, essentially, in this, you could argue that we are in a culture war. So what I decided to do was do something about it. And I feel like I'm in a great position to do that. The benefits of physical exercise in your physical health and how it impacts your life, not only from an athletic standpoint, but just from a global standpoint, how it affects your mental health too. So I put a ton of value into hard work, effort, and discipline. I cultivate a environment that you have to work hard. Obviously, there's people that are going to give less effort than others, but essentially, I'm going to give a training program that pushes you physically, and it has to. I feel like earlier in my career, and even in the middle stage of my career, I did sort of coddle and cater to people a little bit too much, and what I realized is that's not helping. That does not help these athletes grow as athletes or people. You have to put yourself through hard workouts. You have to put yourself through hard things. And when you do those hard things, you come out a better person. And that is what I advocate for. Advocating for using a training program not only to improve your sports performance, but to change your life. And as in the two examples I showed, it does that. And that's one of the things I feel like I'm like really trying to, especially when people reach out to me, especially when it's parents, they reach out to me, I'm always responding back with, not only is this going to make your son or daughter better at their sport, but it's going to give them a better life. And there's no time like now that we need that. We need stronger, healthier kids. We need a stronger, healthier generation coming up. I was just listening to Joe Rogan, and he had made a funny comment about, anytime there's people arguing online, they should all have to do like 100 push-ups and then see how they feel after. And then, odds are they're probably going to calm down a little bit. I know myself personally, the feeling of doing a hard workout and that during is terrible, but when you're done, you feel so much better. You get the endorphins and all the serotonin. You get all these biomarkers that just create this wave of, happier emotion and more of a stable mindset. So, that is definitely where I am at with, my programming. It is to push yourself as hard as possible because we need to and we have to if we are going to do anything to combat everything that is around us. And which leads me into our summer training. So this summer, it's gonna be it's already starting to pop off a little bit. Getting some people back in, some college athletes home, getting some people that are coming back in now after like a spring sport. So, or they're wrapping up the spring sports and they want to hurry up and get in. So yeah, in the summer, I love the summer because it is, sun's out, it's hot, people are always doing things, you're out of school. It's just like a good, there's always like that tremendous vibes to everybody, and everybody's in a better mood than, and it's doom and gloomy in the winter. So, it's going to be good. And essentially, the summer training, how I'm looking at it, it's going to be structured around three things. And the reason is had me thinking about these three things. This should always be what's training structure on, and it is. It's just that I'm thinking of how to come up with something that explains what your summer training program should look like. And what I had come up with, again, these are three things that you should always be centering around. It's basics, but it's going to be centered around speed. You want to be faster because you will more than likely make more plays. You will be in positions that you need to be in, that you may not have been able to get to because you weren't fast enough to get there. You create more space for players to make more plays. Essentially, the speed is going to be emphasized because you need to be fast, and a fast athlete is going to make more of an impact, on the field, on the court, whatever it is you play on. You just need to be fast. If you have more speed, I can almost guarantee at some level of your game will be elevated. Strength. You need to be strong. A strong body is better protected from the stressors of sport. We have evidence that shows that you are less likely to get injured. You will not prevent it, but you are less likely because your body will be stronger. It's better fortified. You need to be stronger so your body can maximally and fully project its power. So, if you have a greater level of strength, you will be able to express it in a higher level. You will be hitting balls farther. You can be throwing things harder. You can be kicking things further. You will be hitting people harder. Everything that is concerned with power, you're going to elevate it. And you just want to be strong because a stronger body, a stronger mind, it's going to make you feel better. When people get stronger, they shape their body to where they have more muscle and less fat. Hence, they look better. And when you look better, you feel better about yourself. So you need to be strong. And we are going to emphasize getting strong. Last is what everybody hates, but what is very, very necessary, and that's conditioning. Being essentially basic terms, being out of shape sucks. If you're out of shape, everything's harder. Especially if you're playing a sport in the summer, you will get tired quicker. Your strength and your speed will go down as you get more tired, as the game, match, whatever you compete in, prolongs. So, in again the most basic terms, the greater your lung capacity, the greater you are able to maintain your strength and speed, the better off you'll be. And not only in your sport, but in the training as well. If you're not as tired while you're training, you can do more sets, more reps. And the sets of reps that you do are at a greater intensity because you're not as tired. So instead of if say you do 5 sets of 5 and you're just a gas on the 4th and 5th set, you may need to be lowering the weight, versus if you are, say, more conditioned, you don't need to. So now you're doing more, a greater level of volume at more load, which is going to over time produce greater results. So speed, strength, conditioning, and the way you go about it is simple. You structure it, you work hard, you get a good environment that encourages competitiveness and camaraderie, and boom, you're a better athlete. You have a better life. It's that simple. So summer training, is coming around the corner. And if you really want to elevate your game, change your life, I would highly suggest you get on board, because there's gonna be tons of athletes as are, and they'll be leveling up for sure. So that's all I got. Phone is actually about to die. It is on 10%. Click that. So hope this was insightful. Hope you got something out of this. We'll be trying to get on the videos here more now that I feel like I got that sleep in check. Although tonight is obviously that kind of got thrown out the window. It's kind of, I think we're at midnight right now. I still got like a few things I gotta, some like housekeeping things. Not like really around the house, but just like some like bork work type stuff I need to do. So, that's fine. If it's like one night out of the week, that's okay. So, all right, I'm gonna hop off this, get that taken care of. And again, the main message: training hard, training often, training consistently. It's gonna better your life. It's gonna better your life in terms of sports and just your overall life. And it has to be done in a manner that pushes you. And if you're not going to push yourself, I will. So, all right, have a good night.